We are live now. There should be a delay a bit, so it will show in a second. Okay, Milenko, Nick.
Hello. Hi guys.
Hello guys, thank you for joining me, and thank you everyone for watching our webinar today. My name is Mihaela Dragic. I'll be the moderator today, joining our two heroes, Nicolas Kletz from QS and Milenko from Hey Success. Just a bit of an introduction. We at QS have been working in higher education for the last 25 years, over 25 years now, working with both students and universities from all over the world about studying abroad, about opportunities for studying abroad. And for example, the QS Course Finder, the courses directory that we have, we're listing thousands of courses from universities in Europe and Australia. And we do know that there's a lot of opportunities and there are a lot of options for students who want to go and experience life outside of their home country. And according to UNESCO, there are a bit like 16,000 universities around the world, so there's a lot to choose from. Also, our partners at Hey Success have an amazing platform listing a lot of opportunities for scholarships, internships, competitions, events for young students who want to go abroad. So there's a lot where to choose from. So knowing from our experience, we've decided to organize this webinar to give you a bit of a starting point and a few tips and advice on where to look for the best opportunities, how to make your choices, how to prepare if you've decided to study abroad. And I will let our two guests today to introduce themselves. Each one will have about a minute. You can tell us who you are, guys, and what you're doing. I'll have Milenko from Hey Success to go ahead first.
So hello everyone, to all our audience in all over the world where you are sitting and watching us, broadcasting this live from London. And my name is Milenko, and most of you already know about Hey Success. That is central hub for all international student programs. So all internships, scholarships, summer school, student events, student project competitions are there, and our vision is to gather them at one website plus add additional features. And it will be my pleasure at this webinar to share some of our expertise in scholarships domain, because as Mihaela very rightly and correctly, that this world has many opportunities and you have many opportunities to study abroad. So you shouldn't be from the rich family, you shouldn't have a rich daddy. You just need to decide and go for it and apply for scholarship for universities. And for that reason, we are here to help you with that goal.
Thank you very much, Milenko. Nicolas?
Well, so my name is Nicolas Kletz. I've been invited to this webinar because I've been working for QS for now almost 9 years, working more with the schools, mainly with schools from Western Europe. So countries like France, Germany, Switzerland, Belgium, the UK, Holland, and also from North America. So I've got a bit of experience of working with these schools and help them, promote their programs and where to go and how to put across that brand and of course their scholarships. So I guess what I'll try to do, I've never done this kind of webinar before, but I'll try to give you as many details as I can in terms of how to look for a university, how to look for a program, and my bit of experience of these events that we run around the world.
Thank you. Okay, so I'm going to start with my first question. Since you all have expressed so much interest in this webinar, we had thousands of people registered, quite a few watching at the moment. It means that you are highly interested in studying abroad. So I'm gonna start by asking Nick, when they've decided to study abroad and they start searching for information and for things, what should they start with? What should they consider before researching for information about universities, about countries where to go to, about the subjects they're interested in, depending on the degree levels? What's the starting point?
Well, I guess it's a very, there's no direct answer, I think, to this kind of question. I think and there's actually, these two words are the ones that I'm hearing the most at these panels, answering almost any kind of question like this, which is a bit generic. These two words are, it depends. You can answer it depends to almost every kind of questions on where to study, what to study, scholarships, and all this. But I guess the first few points in terms of what should we look at when choosing a university. Of course, your subject of interest, what you are passionate about, is very important. So especially when we talk about studying abroad, there's lots of challenges. It's not as easy as if you stay in your own country to study. So being passionate about this, being committed about these studies is very important. So you need to do your research in terms of what kind of university offer the program or the subject that you are interested in the countries that you are maybe interested in. So I think it would make sense to make maybe a short list of universities that offer your program in the countries that you're interested in. I would say as well that maybe you could see that from a different perspective and more from a career perspective, and actually choose the subject area that is the most appealing for employers, maybe after graduation. There's some areas which are more in demand, than others. I think that it's well advertised that in Europe, for example, all around Europe, Western Europe, we're looking for engineers. That's why I've been working with a lot of schools coming to India, to Asia, to Latin America, to actually meet with prospective engineer students. So you could turn the other way around, and maybe if you think that if you want to live in Europe, for example, and you want to give you the best chance to have a career there, maybe choosing a subject which is more likely to give you an employment at the end of all your studies can also be a strategy to use, I guess. But there's a lot of things as well. How the program is taught. Is it full time? Is it part time? Is it distance learning is also very very important at the moment. And of course, especially when we talk about going and studying abroad, the proficiency in this foreign language. I mean, almost all the universities, well, not all, there's a lot of universities now that are based in France and Italy and Spain or Germany, and they will offer programs taught entirely in English. But it's not just about the classroom; it's outside. So you need to realize that you're moving to another country. So you want to be aware of this and comfortable with the idea.
So you've touched upon subjects of interest. Which is key, essentially. The country where to study in, and probably the challenges that come with it, and also the costs that come with studying in a foreign country. Career perspective, which is very important because we're talking about the future of people here. So you're going to further your education, whether it's at the starting point at a bachelor's level, or you go further ahead to a master's degree, PhD, or MBA. It's improving your education to get a better career. So that's actually exactly a strong point to take into consideration when deciding where and what to study. Then you've mentioned the teaching method, whether it's a taught, whether it's more practical or more theoretical, whether it's full-time or part-time. same, and the language. Because yeah, it's true. Even if courses are, say, in France, a course might be taught in English, but you have to go out on the streets and make friends, and you would have to know French as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's true. So, okay, say if a student has these points outlined and they know they want to study a specific subject in a specific country, how to look for universities?
Well,
and where to find that information? Because there are a lot of resources. They can find it online, there are brochures, but what to start with, where to go?
Yeah, well, I would say that unless you know exactly which school you want or which university you want to go to, I think the rankings, for example, can be a good point to start with in terms of the best universities. In my subject, even there's a few rankings like this outside. I mean, QS is actually releasing tomorrow, actually. The World University Rankings by subject, where people will be able to have a look at what are the best universities by subjects. There's tens and tens of subjects. We're going from art and design all the way to veterinary science. And so yeah, I think it can be, I think for me, the rankings are not necessarily, it's not the gospel. It's not because QS is saying that these universities are the best, that it's the case. But I think it's a good starting point to compare and contrast, the rankings. And if you see that, some universities are appearing, as the best universities in all these various rankings, I think you can be confident that that's a good starting point.
What rankings would you, I don't know, suggest looking at?
Well, I think the QS rankings is, I mean, you've got the all university rankings, and now we're also producing regional rankings and subject rankings. But you also have the Times Higher Education producing rankings. You also have there's another one, the Shanghai Jiao Tong University rankings. So what is, I would say about rankings, one very important thing I would say is that you need to make sure you understand what is being measured in the rankings. Again, being critical about this kind of information. Again, it's not the gospel. I mean, for example, when we look at the methodology of the QS rankings, we're very much looking at, reputation coming from academics and employers. We're looking at the number of international students, the research output, and other rankings may be looking at other things. I'm not a specialist of the ranking question, but I know, for example, that the Shanghai Jiao Tong University rankings Nobel Prizes. If you think that's important for you, maybe you want to look at this.
Yeah.
So about the rankings, I think it's a good starting point. I think it's a good base to start our research. But always be critical. This is not the gospel.
How to go ahead with that?
How to go ahead with that? Of course, the university website or the school website will be, for me, the number one thing to view. Today, universities and schools will have, again, wherever they're based, their websites in English and sometimes other languages, where you can find all the details. You can find the requirements, you can find the deadlines, you can download brochures, sort of things. I guess as well, I guess this QS courses website is also a good way to compare actually universities and business schools on one page, where you can compare the module, you can compare the tuition fees, the study modes, the length of the programs. So this can also be a starting point. And I would say that as well, of course, because I've been working in this industry for a long time now. I think universities and schools will travel a lot around the world to actually meet with prospective candidates. These education fairs And this is a great opportunity actually when you've done your research beforehand, whether it is on education portals or the university website, to actually come and meet a representative, and talk, face to face. It's also can be very, very useful, I think.
Would you say it's important, say all these, the university websites, the rankings are formal resources and formal presentations? Would you say it's worth also getting feedback from current students in those specific universities, from graduates from those specific universities? Where can people who want to study there get access to such information?
Yeah, I think the feedback from current students and from alumni can be very interesting. But again, it's not because the program in, I don't know, arts or humanities is working for you, that is working to work for me. So I think it's a very individual base, and I think reviews and feedback, again, this is a great point to start with. But I think for me, and I could be wrong, but for me, I want to know if that program, whether it is, and especially if we're talking about masters and MBAs, then you want to know if that program actually suits you. Whether it suits Jack, Paul, and Harry, it's great, but it doesn't mean that it's going to suit you. So yeah. I think that's why you want to do your own research, and you want to speak to universities and schools. And there's a lot of other informal ways of actually getting some information through, there's lots of university websites now will have chat options on their websites. They will organize their own information sessions where you can have a cocktail reception or something like this, and you can know more about the program.
So you can go over a cocktail and meet the university representative and
what could go wrong?
Ask them the trickiest questions.
Exactly.
Is there, based on your previous experience at the QS Educational Affairs, for example, I know there are a lot of people that come there, meet the university's representatives. Are there any questions that they should ask apart from, say, there is standard information that's already available on the websites or on different other university directories, for example?
Yeah.
What should they ask the university representatives to give them more in-depth information about that specific course or that specific program?
I think it's the main thing actually to know when you come to one of these events, or whether you have this kind of discussion online, is to actually I think the best advice that I've seen, and it's a very simple one that I've seen on throughout the years, is to actually know what you want. And you would be surprised at how many people actually I'm not really sure about what they want to do, or where they want to go, or what they want to study. I think, and again, it's not just face-to-face discussion. It's also through these webinars and other online solutions. I tell you, there's a bit of a dating exercise actually, where
finding the perfect match.
Yeah, exactly. As much as as a prospective candidate, you've got loads of options available to you. You can, if you put yourself in the shoes of the school, it's the same situation. So why the question why you should choose this university or this school is actually a very good one from the other perspective. Why should they choose you? So I think it's important to show that you understand, that you've done your research, that you know the program, that you understand how this program can actually match your wishes, what it is that you want, your future plans, exactly. So I think the best advice is actually to know what it is that you want, and be prepared, and actually come and have what. And this is more for the events and these education fairs. They're traveling the whole world to come and meet with you. Give them some respect and have some something solid actually to talk about. And actually they're coming there to actually have this kind of discussion. You know, if it is to know about a program, you can do that online, it's very easy. But you know, a face-to-face discussion is about something which is a bit more, maybe, yeah, a bit more in depth.
In-depth information.
Yeah,
definitely. I want to actually switch to Milenko. Milenko, I know you you studied abroad as well, and this will actually help us. This bit of introduction about your studies and work abroad will help us switch to the second bit of our webinar today, which is also of very high interest for the people that are watching us, regarding scholarships and funding options for studying abroad. What can you share from your experience regarding studying abroad? How did you end up to study abroad? How did you choose your university? And how did you get the funding?
Yeah, that is very good question. I think most of people who are watching us, who will be watching us, are thinking whether I should study or not. Is it good for me? Is it only for the rich? Can I afford it? I think the studying abroad is the best experience you can have in your 20s. So by far the best. I remember myself before deciding that I want to go abroad for studying, and after finishing my studying abroad, I was a completely different person. There are many reasons why you should study abroad. You can find many articles, but I would like to point one reason. It's you will increase your self-confidence a lot after studying abroad, because all experiences you will have in another culture, learning different language, battling with bureaucracy, with visa, managing your own finance, studying in another language, writing exams in another language will just increase your self-confidence. And I think that's amazing feeling when you realize that, I'm studying abroad and I go my home on vacation, I bring gifts to my family. That's something I would recommend to every single young person to experience. So that's the first point. Guys, if you are in high school, that's great. Plan how you will study for undergraduate abroad. If you are an undergraduate, if you are maybe first year, maybe you still can go to another country to do your undergraduate course. If you are about to graduate in undergraduate program in your country, plan how to do it for master, even if it's like in 5-6 years when you get some initial working experience. I decided, my decision was, I was just feeling that's right thing to do. I wanted to experience something different. I always was kind of interested in meeting other cultures and other people and learning other languages. And I was just looking for available scholarships because I wasn't from rich families, so I needed to find a scholarship. And at that moment, I found 2 government scholarships, from Japanese government scholarship and Greek government scholarship. I applied for both of them, and I ended up in Greece. That's one type of scholarship we will discuss, government programs. So that's something, that's decision I didn't regret, and I would recommend to everyone to do.
Okay, that sounds good. How did you? So you mentioned you started searching for scholarships. Where did you research for these scholarships? What resources did you use?
Yeah, have in mind that it was pre-Hey Success years, so Hey Success wasn't there. So it was difficult life for many students and young people to look for scholarships. I was looking for, I think I contacted embassies directly and asked them if they have available scholarships, because I had a concept when I was in high school. I knew that there are some governments who are giving scholarships for nationals from abroad to come to their country and study. But now people can just go to heysuccess.com and they can type that they are from, for example, from Japan or from Romania, for example, and they're looking for scholarship, and we'll have listed available scholarship where their nationality can apply. So that's the way. And the second thing is, still you can contact embassies and ask them if they government has available programs, but most of those scholarships are already on his success. But just to be sure, you can always contact embassies. So this is one program, one source of scholarships, government programs. They are very exclusive, so governments from other nations are giving money for foreign nationals to come to study in their country. Usually those scholarships cover everything. You just need to apply. When you come to that country, you learn language usually, and then government help you to get admitted to university. Would you like me to elaborate another sources of scholarships, or you would like Michaela maybe ask some additional questions?
No, I think we can actually send the webinar attendees more details, more in-depth information about this type of scholarships out of the webinar in our info pack. I just wanted to ask you if you can outline other sources of scholarships that students can look at, whether it's directly from the universities or there are other funding sources, and where they can find them.
Okay, so you guys heard for government scholarships. I will just mention some examples. Like Japanese government scholarship is called Monbuka Gakusho, or short Monbusho. It's always open in this period, so you apply directly to embassy in your country, or Chevening scholarship from the UK government, or Fulbright scholarship from the US government, and so on. Another source are university. So our friends from QS courses have already mentioned scholarship from universities. So when you have one target university, always ask them what available scholarships they have. Usually those scholarships cover tuition fees, but many universities, especially in US, some in the UK, in Australia, cover even living costs, tickets, even everything. So even in Japan, I saw some universities offering full scholarships for their potential students. Another very good source are companies and organizations. Those sources are usually, if companies spotted you, they are interested, in kind of employing you after your studies, and you get scholarship to do your master or maybe even undergraduate in foreign country. There is one concrete opportunity which Michaela would like to discuss later about QS Scholarship Trust. And fourth source, actually 5 sources, but I will mention now fourth source, are foundations. So foundations are usually very rich kind of organizations with a lot of money, supported by independent donors from parties, companies, and so on. But basically, you don't care; you care to get scholarship. Okay. So, for example, in Germany, there is Konrad Adenauer Stiftung. That's foundation which gives scholarships to students abroad to come to study in Germany. You should contact them directly. They have many scholarships, and they cover everything. They cover tuition fees. You get covered living costs, tickets, and all this stuff. And the 5th category is fundraising. You can always fundraise money for your studies abroad. I have known quite a few people who did it. Even a person from Serbia who managed to fundraise over 50,000 pounds for studies at Cambridge University. So it is possible, but we can discuss.
That's an interesting topic.
So fundraising, I think we can even arrange a separate webinar for that, but I will just point those questions and the most important information about fundraising here. So there are different sources in fundraising. One is crowdfunding. You use some of the popular platforms like Indiegogo. You have to kind of create compelling video where you will explain to people what you achieved so far, why you need that scholarships, what impact it's going to have on your life and your society's life. And you can employ yourself full-time for a couple of months and invite people to donate some money for your studies abroad on crowdfunding. The second is writing to companies, municipality, government about that you were accepted to certain university and you need money to cover your studies and your living costs. You have to be persistent. You have to send many letters. You have to go networking with people. You have to see whom you have in, common friends on LinkedIn, common connections. You have to work full-time couple of months in order to achieve this. But as I told you, I saw many people who achieve this, especially if they combine crowdfunding and this so-called offline fundraising by contacting companies, organizations.
I guess you need to. I guess you need to also come with a very compelling story about yourself and your plans for the future, to show that you're interested to better yourself and improve yourself and do something that the society will benefit from afterwards, that you'll do something to help the others, or achieve a certain specific goal when you go and ask for this kind of funding, rather than just going and saying, I've been accepted at a university in the UK, I don't have money, can I please have some money?
Yeah,
right?
and sure, yeah, you can't say even, I was accepted to study, in UK, I'm going to party, please support my studies abroad, you have to have, yeah, compelling story and reason. People always like, to support you if they know that you will have an impact on other people after your studies. If you have kind of plan, that's the first thing. And the second, before that, you have to present, your successes during high school or undergraduate course. And I believe if you kind of craft that, people will just support you. Even, if it's $5, if you gather 10,000 of such people through crowdfunding, you have done job pretty well. With $50,000, you can study wherever you want almost. Another thing where I just wanted to mention, university scholarships. I didn't know this before meeting some people who are studying at Harvard University. So there are many universities. One of them is Harvard University, where you first get admitted. So you have to show during that you did many things during high school, that you were active in different, high school sections, that you are active in sport and all this stuff, in a case if you apply for undergraduate scholarship. So after they admit you to university, they ask you about financial status of your family. If they can't afford your studies abroad, in Harvard concretely, what I'm talking about, they will pay all your costs, including tuition fees, food, everything what you need for studies at Harvard. So there are many such opportunities. And I believe the key is to work from now on increasing your competence by participating in internships, summer schools, student events, organizing your own projects. Then your chances are much, much higher to not only fundraise, but that get scholarship and be fine during your studies abroad.
Yeah, definitely. Since you mentioned a lot university scholarships, and you've mentioned Harvard as an example, I know there are many other universities that offer scholarships for bachelor's, master's, MBA programs, depending on different criteria, whether whether the students have enough financial means or not, or based on, say, excellent scholarships or academic scholarships, research scholarships, and so on. Just an example, here at QS, we have the QS scholarships that are offered by our company in partnership with other universities as well. Nick, would you like to add
sure.
something about this?
Of course. So there's as you said, there's a fund which is now, I think, of $1.7 million US. It's available exclusively to the candidates actually coming to one of our events. As I said, previously we run bachelor's, master's, MBA, and PhD events around the world, literally, maybe from Australia, New Zealand. We're going everywhere. And so every year we give scholarships to several of these candidates. And if people are interested, they can go on the website topuniversities.com, and they will have some information about this fund, which will be divided in two groups. So as you said, there's scholarships offered by schools that we work with. So these are, of course, if you apply at this school.
So these are in case the student applies at that specific university and receives an offer of it. acceptance,
exactly.
then they can apply for that specific scholarship.
Yeah, and then there will also be a part of the fund will be made of will be created by QS, and this can be used to apply anywhere. So I think the one I have in mind is the story of a Greek candidate that came to our event either in Athens or Thessaloniki, I can't remember, and he was granted the scholarship to go and study at Stanford. So so you've got this available, and I think I would also add that actually our colleagues from the editorial team are doing a great job in terms of content on the website topuniversities.com with some amazing content about scholarship. So there's lots of ideas of ways to explore to find the right scholarship.
One thing I would like to add from my side, because I see quite a few questions coming from our viewers right now. In terms of these kind of scholarships, Milenko, I think you also have experienced similar situations, maybe from students that you've spoken with. Many of these scholarships are granted only after the students apply to a specific university for a specific program, get accepted, and then they can go or apply for a scholarship saying, I have been accepted to this university, this is what I want to do, this is my future plan, but I need funding, right? So guys, it's actually very important for you to decide on a specific program and decide on something that you really want to do, and think of the options of funding as well, but you can't always apply for scholarships first, receive the scholarship, and then decide on which university to go to. It's actually the other way around.
Exactly. I mean, as I said earlier on, the most important thing in this whole process is knowing what you want to do. And being, let's be clear about this. You know, you need to know first what you want to do, and then you can start the whole process. You need to apply for scholarships. There was one question there about this, and for me, it's as you said, it has to be taken the other way around. Apply first. Well, know what you want to do first. Apply for that program, and then do the necessary things
to apply for a scholarship.
I want just to add. So, if in a case, if you don't know what you want, and many young people actually don't know. If you just have a rough idea that you want to study abroad, I would knock many doors. So, if you have a goal, kind of rough goal to study abroad, start applying to universities, to government scholarships, to different sources. When you get admitted to university, then ask them if they offer scholarship. If not, see how many months you have available in order to fundraise money. So I wouldn't rely on one or two options. I would try many options, and if you show that burning desire, if you want work hardly, be sure that the best option will be there for you. So I believe that's the way to go.
That's great advice, Milenko, actually. Thank you. And I'm pretty sure the ones that are watching us are on the same page. Since we have another 20 minutes left, I was thinking we should take a few questions from our readers, because there are plenty of them. And since we're on the scholarships topic, I will start with one of them related to scholarships. One of our viewers asked if we have a list of universities that offer scholarships. Milenko, would you like to start by answering this question?
Yes. So, what's the name of person? I always like to address the person.
Mike. Yeah.
Yeah. So, Mike, it's always better, as I told you, to knock different doors. When you come to Case Success, you will write your country scholarship, and you will have available scholarships for your country, where you, with your passport, can apply. So you will see there government scholarships, university scholarships. So you save at least 1 month of search, because you listed only scholarships where you are eligible to apply. So check which scholarships are available there. If they are university scholarships, most probably you will have to first apply to university, then ask them to apply for that scholarship. Or usually, and or very often you apply at the same time. If those are government scholarship, usually it goes through embassies, and then government helps you to get admitted to the university, and then small foundations and so on. We have them also at our website. If you want specific university, if you want to search universities based on your kind of course preferences, major, I think QS courses can help you pretty good with that. Nicholas has explained that pretty good. I think those are two ways to go.
Thank you, Milenko. There's another question still about scholarships. As I said, a lot of people are really interested in that. They would like to know, it's Nina, would like to know what are the most important criteria in getting a scholarship. I'll ask Nick here if you are able to tell us from a university perspective, what are the universities looking at in scholarship applicants when deciding to give a scholarship or grant a scholarship to a certain student?
I think it's a good question. I think from my perspective, I'll probably say that I mean, more often than not, these scholarships are offered on merit. So, you know, you are in competition with loads and loads of other applicants all around the world. So I would personally say that maybe Milenko can give us a bit more details, but I think for me that the most important thing is to be really to produce. I mean, for us, for our scholarships, for example, it's on merit, so it's based on an essay that people have to write. So the quality of, you know, understanding the question, the quality of the content, you know, the no spelling mistakes, sort of thing is very important. Keep in mind that you're in competition with people, so show the best that you can be through this. Whatever the method is, you know, granting the scholarship for us, it's based on an essay. So be the best do the best essay you can.
Also showing a background as well.
Yeah, I mean, again, you know, talking from my experience in terms of our scholarship, we don't really look at the background. We look more at, you know, has this person, you know, understood the question, done the necessary research, and put on paper something which is actually, you know, quite interesting, and you'd be surprised with some really good essays out there. So. But maybe Milenko can tell us more. I don't know.
Milenko, what do you think the most important things students need to prepare when applying for scholarships? Like things to consider when applying for scholarships. Make sure that they have that in order to be successful.
Yes, so it's very important to know whether you apply for undergraduate or master scholarship. I will explain briefly both cases. The first is, I will explain with one example. My friend Alan from Argentina, he didn't have money to go to study even in Argentina, but he set the goal, I will get admitted to Harvard. Even it took him a couple of years. He was pretty active during high school in different sections. He started his own band. He was helping one big conference to be held in Argentina. He was helping, he even wrote email to us, to his success, to help us online. So he was pretty active. So despite all kind of struggles, he was, you know, kind of getting, and, you know, his experience, building his expertise, his profile, and that different thing was recognized by the Harvard University. So that's the case if you are in high school now, or you have just graduated from high school. I would suggest you to take kind of one gap year after your high school, and you work hardly on doing volunteering stuff, starting your projects, going to conferences, meeting people, and then during that time you prepare your application. In a case for master studies, master scholarships, the same applies, but those activities are kind of more demanding, more complex. Those are internships. If you maybe started your own project, if you started maybe your own company, if you went abroad for exchange program, if you went abroad for volunteering program. So all those sorts of things which you did beyond your studies are very important. So I would just recommend you to work a lot on your extracurricular activities, and this will increase a lot your chances to get admitted. I know many people are asking, I don't have a good, marks. I don't have any chances to get admitted, to get that scholarship and get admitted to universities. I wouldn't say that this is the most important criteria. From my experience, from my knowledge, it's maybe between 15 and 20%. 80 other percent are all other things which you did beyond those things which you were supposed to do. Just go to university and get a degree.
I think that we have a bit of a problem. No, now it's fine. Milenko, can you hear us well?
Yes, pretty well.
Oh, perfect. Thank you. Thank you. That was really good advice. I'm going ahead and take another question from Alessia, who would like to know, and that's actually helpful for a lot of people, what is more important when choosing a grad school, so master's degree, postgraduate degree, affordability of the course, or the student's preference, I suppose, the student's preference in terms of the course offered? Nick?
That's a good question. What is the most important between affordability of the program, I assume, and the preference in terms of the course offered?
What should influence their decision? First, is it one of them? Is it both? Are they equally weighted in the decision making?
It's quite tough, actually. I'm not sure what to answer here. I think I think it can swing both ways, to be honest. I think my idea on that is that maybe the content of the program, especially at master's level, we're talking about a degree that's going to give you you're more often than not, you're going to become a specialist in something. So, what is that degree? How is that degree going to help me, as we said earlier on? How is that going to help me to, clinch the job that I want? A job in the industry that I want. So maybe, for me, I would probably be tempted to say that this is more important. But I can definitely see the other side of the coin, where affordability of the program and maybe the possibility to get a scholarship, or I don't know, to installments to pay for the course is also. In French we say that the money is the heart of war. So I don't know how to say it in English, but the money is also is very important. If not, I still think it's not the most important thing, because at the end of the day, it's just a mean to an end. But I can actually see it. I would personally say the program itself, the content, the professors, the alumni, and how this is going to help me in the future. And if that means, maybe paying a bit more, I still think, personally, I would go for that. Maybe it doesn't sit right with everybody. Again, it's a very, I think this question is very much an individual question. Again, I could see both ways. So I can only give you what I think.
Yeah, Milenko, what do you think?
I think Nick covered pretty good this question, but I would just add that it's fine all that you kind of choose what you want to study. That's good, that's a must, but also listen to your heart. If you have a dream to study in Japan, just go for that, because you can't know now whether that degree will be great option, whether it will be sold and popular in market in 2 years or 3 years. Just go for that and make sure that you utilize all opportunities which you will have available during your studies, and new options will come up after you graduate and finish your course there. So there are many kind of criteria so all of them you heard from Nicholas, but also listen to your heart, check where there are scholarships, apply for many of them, and there will be a solution.
Thank you, Milenko. I'm going to take one more question before wrapping up. Also an interesting one, actually. It's from Kholoud, how I hope I'm pronouncing it correctly, who said is currently studying biology and decided to completely switch the field of study and study law. How would this impact, how would this change in a specialization and degree would impact the application for a university or the application for a scholarship? So say this is a very specific case from biology to law, which is a big jump, but I suppose there are other cases, different other subjects jumping from one to another. Is it a good move or not? Will it impact the application? Is it in favor or not?
Again, I think it would depend on the program and maybe the two subject areas that I'm jumping from and to. But I would say that this specific example from biology to law, the other way around, it's a big change, big jump. I know that I think in those two subject areas, some schools will require that you have a first degree in the same subject. I think there's, for some other subjects, I know, for example, between business or management and engineering, there's maybe an easier link, a more natural one, at least from a school's perspective, where they will actually welcome. I know I work very closely with a lot of business schools who will actually be very, very interested in engineering profiles who want to get both competencies, being able to have the engineering side, but also the management side of things, so they will accept applicants with a first degree in civil engineering, mechanical engineering, you name it. For this specific case, I think it might be, I don't know, again, it probably would depend on the school, it would depend on the program, but I think in some cases it can have an impact on your application and of course application to the scholarship, and it can have a negative one. Having said that, I think it's something that you need to check on a case-by-case basis.
So it's, if a student decides to go from a bachelor's in law to a bachelor's in finance and banking, for example, or any other subject, maybe the first things they would need to look at is the requirements of that specific program, if they accept students with a subject-related bachelor's degree or not, if they accept students coming from no matter what other subject degrees. So it depends on the application criteria of that program that they need to check first. In this case, probably the same.
I think I answer that question more on the continuity basis. It's somebody, maybe I misunderstood, but I thought somebody who has a first degree, bachelor degree in a biological science and wants to do an LLM program or a law program at master's level. So, in terms of applying at master's level with a first degree in a completely different subject area, in some cases it can be a big no-no, depending on the school. And it's, again, as I said in the very first few sentences, you can answer a lot of questions, but it depends.
It depends. Milenko, would you like to add something to this?
Yes. So as we know, you can use all challenges and problems and turn them to your advantage. So I would suggest to that guy to use that unique story when he applies for scholarships and for law programs, to use his previous background in order to build his story to be even more interesting, even compelling. He can always say, I was studying, I was very passionate about biology, but I saw much huge potential in law in order to unleash my creativity, my passion to help other people, to build something new. Of course, you will be very concrete when you mention those things and reasons why you are turning to law. And then you kind of try to find connection between what you learned by being student of biology and what you can apply in low science. I think even this kind of tricky situation, I don't see it as a tricky, but let's say Nicholas thinks it's kind of tricky. If it's tricky, you can turn it to be your advantage by writing your essay, your story, your cover letter. And I would suggest you keep your option. You are a student of biology, but while being a student of biology, start applying for law programs. If you really want that badly, if you want to become a lawyer, then just keep your option until you get for sure option of studying law on a scholarship, for example, abroad. Because anything goes, anything is possible.
Yeah.
And use your story.
Yeah, that's true.
Use your story. Use your story as a biology student to kind of increase your chances, because you can write great story based on that fact.
Thank you, Milenko. We have quite a few more questions. We will answer these questions via email to the people that attended and ask them, because unfortunately our time is running out, so we'll have to wrap up soon. So guys, no worries at all. All your questions will be answered to. We will make sure to send you relevant information and details. And as promised in our messages to everyone, we will send an info guide with what we've discussed here today and some more links to resources where you can research for programs, for universities, resources where to access scholarships and grants and funding information. A material that's been put together by our partners at Hey Success and our team here at QS. Just to wrap up, I would like to ask you guys if you have one short, brief, final advice for the people, piece of advice for the people that watched us today.
Should I go? Yes. So I think if you were listening us from the beginning, you kind of saw that the most important things are what you are actually doing besides your studies. So regardless of whether you have already decided to go for maybe master or undergraduate study, start working on that additional piece of activities like student events, volunteering, internships, project. Start maybe your own conference, and that will be useful whenever you decide to apply either for university program or additionally for a scholarship. I think this is the most important. And then when you decide roughly I want to study abroad, just knock many doors, as I told you. Try with government scholarships, try with university scholarships, see which foundations are out there, try to fundraise, and for all those things, check Hey Success regularly. And I wish you to enjoy your amazing experience abroad, because it is something, as I said, what I recommend to every single young person. It will change you a lot.
Thank you very much, Milenko. Nick?
Final words for me, I think I would use the words that actually this Greek student who got that scholarship from QS. Actually, yeah, we went on to study in Stanford. You would use his words and actually say that the most important thing is actually confidence. I know we're talking about young people, and it's money can be a big thing, but I think confidence can go a long way. And he was just talking about the fact that why would he get the scholarship? We again, as I said, it's a competition with a lot of other applicants around the world. Why he was saying, why would they choose me? And he was saying that you need to be confident. You need to build something, to prepare to build something strong, and be confident that what you're actually submitting is the best you can do. And I think more often than not, on the other side, actually, schools will see that it will appear in if whether or not that person is confident. And confidence can take can take many different forms. but I guess preparation can be a good step towards confidence.
Thank you. So it's be prepared, be perseverant, be confident, focus on doing a lot of activities outside of your studies. So not focusing on your studies only, but also on other activities. Be ambitious and want to do more. I guess these are the taglines of the conversations of today. As I said, each student that registered for the webinar today will receive our info pack with details. Thank you all for watching, and thank you Milenko and thank you Nico for joining today. And we will surely follow up with more such live chats. So see you soon. Thank you everyone.
See you guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks. Bye Milenko.